அயன் சத்து தலைமுடி உதிர்தலை தடுக்கும். மிதமான சூடுபாலில் கலந்து பருகலாம். லயன் டேட் சிரப் தினமும் 2 ஸ்பூன்.
இப்போது புதிய அறிமுகம் ஆச்சி ஹோட்டல் சாம்பார் 50 கிராம் ரூபாய் 20 மட்டுமே.
Taste Daily. Taste the Daily.
Great racing. Lots of blind crests. Let's have a look at the grid. It is Evgeny Leonov on pole position. Andre Fernandez alongside Marabi Mekvabishvili and Philip Wills lining up fourth ahead of Lennart Imstra. Javier Ripoll Jr. was looking good in quali, down in sixth. Angelo Fontana, another one looking good for Estonia ahead of Reinhold Kram. That's the first 4 rows of the grid. Then Tobias Vasquez, Lee Mole from Great Britain, he was looking good in quali this morning. Jan Jaap van Roon, Alexander Dobbik lining up 12th. Marcus Neuhofer has Eric Wagner. We heard from him in the lunch break, didn't we? David Harrison lines up alongside Patrick Cunard. That's his 16th on the grid. 17th, Dominic Bastian has Peter Sander for company. Ajith Kumar, the very popular driver making his debut here, has Eric Santos alongside him. And then Ernst Inderbitzen, Kasper Hockeboom and David von Rosen. That is 23 all set to battle here. We have 3 cars that are in the GT4 category, everybody else in the AM category. It is Kasper Hockeboom, David van Rosen and Patrick Cunard who are the GT4 drivers. So they are in Porsche Caymans. Everybody else in the legendary 911 GT3 Cup car. It is a festival and celebration of all things Porsche. So on this formation lap, drivers will have been working hard to generate the heat in the tyres and into the brakes. When the brakes are hot, heat spreads through the rims of the wheels and into the tyres as well. Tyre warmers not permitted in Porsche sprint racing. So a critical lap. The cars are now forming up side by side for what will be a rolling start. It will be 30 minutes plus 1 lap of racing, and the cars will need to be side by side. They will need to pass through their grid boxes so as to not record a false start. You can see the pole position car of Evgeny Leonov. He has 917 of Andre Fernandez, who has dropped back a little. Now I wonder whether the steward might have something to say about that, because Leonov is a long way ahead, and in fact it looks like the start, no, it has been aborted. So you can see the yellow lights flashing. We've got a green light on the screen, but I believe the start is being aborted. The cars are meant to be side by side as they cross the start-finish line. I saw the lights flashing, so I think it is being aborted, and the cars will need to do it all again. So not a great way to start. Oh, actually, a message has come up, start under investigation. So I'm just trying to work out, we are under green flag. I saw the lights flashing, but clearly the start is going to be allowed to go, but it may well be that if things continue, Evgeny Leonov may well be adjudged to a jump start, or indeed Fernandez might be adjudged to have held back too much. So element of confusion here, just as the cars complete their first lap. I saw the lights flashing, but then they went off again. So I think we are, in fact, still under racing conditions. It still says green flag on my timing screen. So our race leader, Evgeny Leonov, ahead of Andre Fernandez and Marabi Mekvabishvili. And yes, we are up to speed. So ignore what you heard before. We are racing, and the cars are now circulating around turn 13 and 14 and to complete the first lap of the race. But there will almost certainly be an investigation of some sort into that start. That was certainly not what was expected by the race organisers. We've got one car streets ahead of everybody else. There is the race leader, and it is Evgeny Leonov in car 16. And the car that is behind, I think that's Marabi Mekvabishvili, who has jumped up into that second place. Right, across the line we come. Yes, it is Mekvabishvili in second place. Now challenging into turn 1. Sees a gap on the inside. The other front row starter, Andre Fernandez, back in third place. So after a confusing start, we are now running. It is Leonov leading the way for Volcano Motorsport. Marabi Mekvabishvili in second place. As I mentioned before, it is a 30-minute race plus 1 lap, but drivers need to make sure the tyres go the distance It's helped by the fact that it is quite a cold day, so the cars will be a little bit more durable. Keep an eye on Philip Wills in 9.12. He's currently in 4th place. He's in the traffic, but looking very eager. We're going to let the cars just settle down a bit, and then we'll get to see what the positions are. And we've also got one eye on the outside, on the safety, on the messaging screen from race control in case of any penalties that might be incoming. I'm also getting news that there is potentially a little bit of drizzle in the air, as if our lives weren't confusing enough as it was. S1 drivers have reported that there is some drizzle. Now, not enough to affect traction or to cause any problems, but I do believe the anticipated wet weather is in the air, and anything more and it might start to really throw the proverbial cat amongst the pigeons. So Leonov leading the way, Murabi Mekvabishvili in 2nd place. In 3rd place, Andre Fernandez. You can see lots of pushing from further back to get forwards. There is Philippe Wills, behind him Angelo Fontana. Fontana, who has been looking very, very rapid here in qualifying today. Drivers going wide there out of the corner, the final corner, turn 15, where track limits have been such an issue in testing and in practice and in qualifying. So, Philip Wills in that 4th place. Angelo Fontana challenging from 5th place. Leonov looks to have a decent gap, about a second over Murabi Mekvabishvili in that 2nd place. Right, we've got a full course yellow that has come out. We have a medical car out on track. Just looking, David Harrison is stationary, I believe. So David Harrison is the car that is stationary. The driver who is here being coached by Dino Zamparelli for race drive. Currently being shown at the back of the pack, and we've got a full course yellow. So the cars are instructed to reduce their speed. There can be no overtaking. The gaps, in theory, are meant to remain the same. And whether this leads to a safety car, as it did in the previous race, we will see. But at the moment, there is a medical car out on track, and we do have confirmation that there is some light rain in the air. But I don't think, well, we've gone red. So red flag is out. So again, as with the previous race, not entirely sure why we've gone to red flag, but the cars will return to either the grid or the pit lane, and the clock will stop. So we will find out at some point what the situation is there, but we know there is a medical car out on track. And of course, safety and the good health of everybody is paramount here, and so the organisers have decided to show a red flag. It means the race has stopped, the clock has stopped, the cars will come back to a halt. All the gaps obviously will reduce, and I've seen nothing about that start, which was, I think it's fair to say, fairly shambolic. But whilst we're doing that, let's have a look and see how we're doing in terms of the leaderboard. Evgeny Leonov was the race leader. Murabi Mekvabishvili, Andre Fernandez, that's your 1, 2, 3. Philip Wills was in 4th place ahead of Angelo Fontana. Javier Ripoll Jr., Tobias Vasquez, Janja van Room into 8th. Lennart Himstra was in 9th ahead of Lee Mole, rounding out the top 10. Then Alexander Dobik, Reinhold Kran, Patrick Umha. And Patrick was the leading GT4 car ahead of Markus Neuhofer, Eric Wagner, David von Rosen, Dominic Bastian, Peter Sander, Ajith Kumar and his very vocal fan club, share the love, Ernst Inderbitzen, Kasper Hockerboom, and Eric Santos, and then David Harrison, who is showing as a non-runner at the moment. So the car's coming into the pit lane. So apologies, can't bring you any more information at the moment as to why we have the red flag. It could well be that the Harrison car may well be in a barrier somewhere, or it's when we've got staff out on track. We saw it in the sport division earlier when we've got marshals out on track, particularly in these cold temperatures where grip is very much at a premium. It's really important that we don't have cars running around where there are people like to be on tracks. We don't want any dramas. So as always, safety is the top priority here. So as the cars come into the pit lane, and the windscreen wipers aren't running yet, but that's good. So our race leader was Evgeny Leonov for Volcano Motorsport. And you'll recall, if you were listening to the interview with him earlier on in the show, that he was here in the GT Cup Europe in the Pro-Am category last year and spun away what was almost certainly a certain win, and wants to put that right, and is going to be hoping that the stewards don't intervene after that start. Right, the red flag was due to a track repair. So no issues with people. It's a track repair that needs to be done. So the clock is stopped. The teams are allowed to work on the car, but the session is under red flag, and there are some repairs that need to be done around the track. And I'm wondering whether we did have a connection with a barrier somewhere, and maybe that needs to be sorted. So a good opportunity to just take a breather. We all need one of those, don't we? And stick the kettle on. Take too long, this, particularly as we want to get this back underway before any rain comes along. So you can see the cars in the fast lane of the pits, just queued up. So Evgeny Leonov was the leader. Marabi Mekvabishvili was in second place, and of course we saw him last year. He was 7th in the AM Championship. His best result was a 5th place at Estoril. So if things remain as they are, he's looking good to eclipse that. Year before was doing a GT3 Cup Middle East. He's also been in the 24-hour GT series, and that was back in 21 and 22. So driver registered from Bulgaria, and in second place, solid drive from him. Another of the Proton Huber guys in the team run by Christoph Huber and Christian Reed. The Veloso Motorsport Porsche 917 in third place, Andre Fernandez, and he is from Portugal, so local for him, and was in last year's Porsche Sprint Challenge Iberica. Was also in the GT3 Cup Portugal in the AM category in 2022. So that's your 1, 2, 3. And I'm just looking to see if I've got any more updates on what is occurring out there. I don't know if Piers is around at all, whether he's got any news for us. Meanwhile, I'll just keep running down the order. Philip Wills in 4th place, another Proton Huber car. It's good to see him. He was in Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux back in 2023, and was in the Sprint Challenge last year and the year before. And Philip Wills, he won in Estoril last year. He had a 6th and a 4th place at Valencia, and is a pretty solid driver, and was looking good before the red flag came out, as was the case for Angelo Fontana. And I saw him, he was, if I remember rightly, last time I saw him, he was at the Nürburgring in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Germany, and the Est1 driver from Venezuela, teammate to Alex Ryman and Javier Ripoll Jr. He looking pretty racy, and is very much challenging for position, but when the red flag came out, was in 5th place. Yeah, he was the 5th place car, and in 6th place, another of the S1 Racing cars, Javier Ripoll Jr. Right, Piers, you got any news for us down there?
Well, actually, unfortunately, not as much as you're probably hoping for. I've spoken to David Harrison, or Harry's team. They are not entirely sure what's going on either. So for now, drivers are lined up in the fast lane of the pit lane. Of course, as we know, in the parc fermé conditions, so the drivers can open the door and chat to their team, but they can't take on any fluids, there can't be any setup changes, definitely no tyre pressure changes. But I think it'd be a good opportunity maybe if we can duck in and have a quick word with any of our drivers. I'll see if we can have a word with Ajith Kumar, if he's happy to have a word. Ajith, are you happy to have a chat? Yes, he is. Brilliant. Of course, Ajith has a lot of followers listening in, hopefully watching at home. If you are watching, comment on the live chat. Ajith, great to catch up with you during the race. How's it going for you so far?
Pretty good. I'm happy to be here to gain experience. And yeah, so far it's been good. Can't be happy. Can't be happier, sorry.
Can't be happier, of course. You've got a lot of followers. They're all commenting on the side. Have you got anything you want to say to them?
I just love you all. எல்லாரும் ஆரோக்கியமா சந்தோஷமா வாழுங்க. Love you all.
Amazing. Well, Ajit, we'll leave you to concentrate and get ready for the second half of this race. So good luck in that. Great to have Ajit Kumar joining this championship this season. Of course, a very well-followed man. We've got Peter first. I think it's his first race weekend, if I'm not mistaken. He's got a very, very limited experience. So Porsche Sprint Challenge attracting drivers who are very experienced, very, very skilled, and other drivers who are just starting their racing journey, which is amazing to see. Dominic Bastian there, just a few running repairs for the drivers here. Just walking down the pit lane, past David von Rosen and Eric Wagner, who we spoke to earlier on. It's not David von Rosen, it's Marcus Neuhofer here as well. Marcus, of course, as we mentioned on the pit walk, is him and his son are racing together. We're just hearing arrears actually. The car that was caused the red flag has cleared the circuit, so hopefully we'll be getting to go green very, very shortly. All the drivers just getting back in the zone. It's quite tricky as a driver in a red flag like this when you don't know exactly when you're going to go green again, because you can take a moment to switch off, relax, talk to your team and think about the race ahead. But also then when the light does go green and we're back behind the safety car, it's a very quick mental reset into trying to go racing again. Jan-Jaap van Roon here is in a very, very smart looking livery. Good to see him driving this weekend. And apparently we're not long away from a restart. Javier Ripoll Jr. here joining us once again. He was, of course, in the series last year. Shall I come in and grab a word with him? Is he happy to have a chat? Happy to have a chat? Yes, brilliant. Can I just squeeze through? Javier, we've spoken to you many times before. How is this weekend going for you so far?
It's okay. I mean, nothing major, nothing shitty. It's just in between. It's just the start was a mess. I mean, I lift up, lights never came green. I lift, and boom, everybody passed me. So fuck, okay, let's race. So, I mean, it sucks because we could have been farther, but it's okay. At least we're all safe, and the race still is long, so let's push.
Yes, of course. There's a bit of a pause in the race now. An interesting psychological thing now where you have to sort of reset and go again. An opportunity for you to regain those lost positions.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a couple passing zones and not much there. Tires are going to be cold, so we need to be careful at the beginning. And hopefully the leader this time makes it right, you know?
Amazing. Right, we'll leave you to it, Javier. Great to chat to you as always. Apologies for Javier's enthusiastic language there. He's, of course, very much in the zone, so a couple of choice words there, but, you know, it's all part of the fun. So apologies if you were offended by that. Philip Wills, who we spoke to in the lunch break as well, back again. Is currently in fourth position. I'm going to slip out of the fast lane because I'm hearing that we're very, very shortly going to be racing once again. So I'll hand back up to Brian Oliver in the commentary box.
Thank you, Piers. Good job done there. And apologies. Javier Ripoll. Actually, it was good to get his perspective on that start because we were seeing, he was confused by it as well. But as he says, it's kind of like all advantages have kind of been nullified now because they're all nose to tail. I've just seen an image of the car that did cause the problem, and it was the FAC Autotech car of David Harrison, and a lot of damage to the front right corner of that. I'm really hoping they're going to be able to get that car back together for the second round, which comes on later this afternoon, but that's what's brought out the red flag, and I think there might have been some damage to the circuit as well. So they've had to do a bit of repair work on that, but all's good. There is the barrier now freshly repaired. Porsche banners reinstated in position. So thank you for bearing with us. Great. Right, we're going to get this thing going now. Good news for all, and we will get going behind the safety car. I believe the clock will start with 20 minutes remaining. Because the race was initially aborted, there will be a whole new start with the initial start grid. Right, okay, that's just come through. So because of what was, let's face it, a bit of a Horlicks of the start, the race stewards have decided to restart with the grid in the original order, and the race will be shortened to 20 minutes. So it is going to be a bit of a reset. And I have to say that given the mess that it was at the start, I think that is a fair decision as we ride on board with the Indian superstar, Ajith Kumar. I can hear 1,000 hearts melting even from here. Yes, the cars are out on their formation lap. And we're going to do a restart in original grid position. So that's quite an unusual situation, and the race effectively 10 minutes shorter. So that was kind of like a 10-minute warm-up, really, wasn't it? But that's good. I think it's the right decision because there were some who went, some who didn't, and I think that is the right decision that was made. So in a few moments, we will see the cars getting back into a side-by-side formation. And it's going to be all the work to do again for Evgeny Leonov and Javier Ripoll Jr. Well, having put a couple of quid in the Euro box, the swear box, will have the opportunity to prove himself this time and do it all again properly. So cars out towards turn 10 and 11 at the moment. Of course, they've been static in the pit lane, so everything will have cooled down, including the drivers. And we alluded to that, well, Piers alluded to that, that drivers, you're in a rhythm, you've built up, the adrenaline is going, you're going for this race, bang, 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 and then suddenly red flag, and you've got all this adrenaline with nowhere to go, and then you've got no rhythm either, and you've suddenly got to pick yourself up from cold, get yourself back up to speed, and go racing. And it is something that is a discipline. The drivers have to work on this. So we'll see the drivers in a few moments doing just that, getting themselves back up together, pulling it side by side, and we will be ready to go again. And the clock will reset at 20 minutes. We're obviously not going to go quite yet. I think we're going to stop on the grid. So, yeah, in the original spots on the grid, I thought we might be going this time around, but it looks like we're going to come back to the grid, make a stop, and then start again. Actually, you can see they're still working on the fence out there. So, okay, a little bit premature. We got time for a grid walk now, haven't we? Has anyone told the drivers we're not racing this time around? Yes, people out on the track at the moment. So, looks like we're going to come back to a stop. And, the instruction's been given, stop on the grid. So drivers now will have been informed of that. I think everybody thought we were going to be going racing this time around. Yes, good. They'll all come to a stop on the grid, and then we'll take a deep breath and try again. You thought that a 30-minute race was a sprint. Well, try a 20-minute race, and that's what it's going to be, a 20-minute dash for the cash. What a way to start the season in Porsche Sprint Challenge Southern Europe, the club division. And Evgeny Leonov will have to do it all again, our pole sitter. And what a glorious sight that is. Just to remind you, the reason there are a number of Porsche Caymans in amongst the Porsche 911s is that we have two categories running in this race. The regular AM category, who are running in Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars, and the GT4 category cars that are running in Porsche Cayman GT4 RS Club Sports. And the GT4s, yes, they are racing the cars around them, but their main priority is racing the other GT4 cars. And at the end, as you would have seen in the previous race, we'll have two podiums. So we'll get a podium for the AM racers, the overall race, and we'll get a podium for the GT4 race as well. So there's the teams just waving the cars back onto the grid. Just shows everybody you're into this kind of routine where you've got the schedule and everything's like clockwork, and then something like this happens and everything's suddenly thrown up in the air. And of course, while all this is going on, we're constantly looking to the sky as to whether it's going to rain or not. Right, I believe Piers is back down on the grid as if he hasn't worked hard enough already. Back down to you, Piers. We're going to get another grid walk.
Yeah, exactly. The unfortunate red flags means that we managed to get a grid walk in the end. Not long until the drivers are out, but I have seen the race director, Paul Beck, walk out onto the grid and have a chat with our drivers. In fact, you can see in the background there, Paul Beck is currently talking to our pole sitter. Paul Beck is the man there with the grey hair and the Porsche top. He will be explaining the start procedure, what he wants from the drivers. Of course, the start is controlled by Yevgeny Leonov here, and this is to ensure that once we go green this time is a bit of a cleaner start. We know Yevgeny's got excellent pace. We saw that in practice and qualifying. If he has a clean start, there's no reason why he can't pull away. But of course, the rest of the grid will be hoping to keep close on his tail. Let's move on down a little bit further back, because in that first part of the race, which has now been aborted as we now have a 20-minute race, Merabi Mekvabishvili was very, very fast in the all-black car, the number 39 here. I'm hoping I can grab a quick word with Merabi. Merabi, can we have a quick chat for the live stream? 1 minute? 1 minute? So we haven't got long. Merabi, the race director, chatting to pole sitter, so hopefully...
It was very strange. I hope we will be good.
Yes. It should be better this time, hopefully a cleaner start, but it looked like you had good pace in the first part of the race.
I hope I need fastest, was fastest. Okay, will be fastest.
Merabi, thank you very much. Good luck in the race. Hopefully the start's clean. I think that whistle means that it's our time to leave the grid. So for the second time in the club division, Brian, back up to you.
Thank you, Piers. Oh, well, it's keeping you warm anyway, isn't it? I don't look like there's any rain coming down yet, so that's good news for all. The grid starting to clear once again. Interesting to hear the insight from the drivers. There is the 16 car of Evgeny Leonov, not quite in line, but of course that'll all shake out in a bit when we start on the formation lap. And I'm just checking to see if there's any other information that I haven't seen yet. It'll be at 56, so in less than a minute the formation lap will restart, and it's going to be quite a quick turnaround. So yeah, get off the track quick please, and we're going to get this thing underway. So thank you for bearing with us. I hope you're being entertained here. Isn't it great going racing in January? Who knew? There was a time when we didn't get racing until Easter, and here we are in January at Portimão, not quite in the sunshine, but enjoying this wonderful series, the opening round. And here we are, race 2 of the day, round 1 for the Porsche Sprint Challenge Southern Europe Club Division, with the AMs and the GT4s now starting their formation lap, and all that hard work to get the heat back into the tyres. Once again, to get yourself into the rhythm, to just make sure that you're focused, that you're not distracted, riding on board with Ajith Kumar from India, racing for Red Ant and Ajith Kumar Racing, the superstar from India. It's great to have such a prolific actor on our grid, and a real top guy as well, with a monumental fan club who are currently completely spamming our chat room. We've got a camera on board as well. He's got a bit of work to do though. He's towards the back of the pack, but he's got a bit of time to do it, and you can see him just there weaving. Good little insight there. They've patched out the dashboard a little bit. Well, we can see he's in 3rd gear, but we don't want to give too much away. He's got a little map on his steering wheel as well. That doesn't mean that he's going to get lost. It's just a reminder of what gears to be in, whereabouts on the track he is. So just information to the driver is everything. His team will be in communication with him as well, just instructing him to get the tyres into window, so that when the cars arrive, hopefully this time side by side into turn 1, they've got a bit of grip and we can get them all around. They're up at turn 8 at the moment. The Samsung turn, as it is known, and up to the blind crest, where you head up the hill and you just see nothing but sky. And I've never done it myself, but I'm told you can feel your stomach kind of hit the top of your head when you go over the top and back down with the compression. It's there is a good reason why this place is compared with Spa-Francorchamps. Lots of undulation, 30 meters of undulation just over one lap. The main straight is a fraction under a kilometre long, so that is by far the best overtaking section here at Portimão. There's a decent width as well. The average width of the track is about 14 meters, so plenty of opportunities to overtake for drivers who have qualified out of position. Plenty of opportunities to work their way forward, but of course 10 minutes less than what they anticipated having as we restart. So it is a complete restart in the original grid positions, but this time with just 20 minutes. The safety car has ducked off. Now it's really important these cars are side by side now. Once again, Andre Fernandez is a long way back. Is he trying to get a flyer on the car 16 at Evgeny Leonov? Now he pulls alongside. I believe these drivers had a bit of a talking to in the break while we were stopped. Safety car is still actually a lot closer than I thought it was going to be, so it's backed them all up. Now they are side by side as they head out of turn 15. Now the safety car into the pit lane. We are ready to go once again. Evgeny Leonov well ahead. Fernandez quite a long way back, but now the charge down towards turn one. This is a bit more like it. A fight into turn one. It's going to go the way of Leonov, or is it the long way around? Fernandez sweeps around the outside to take the lead. We got cars spinning in the background. That's Fontana, Angelo Fontana. That's one of them. The other is Marabi Mekbabishvili, the two drivers who were so strong in the first start of this race. Both of them have gone spinning into turn one. We've got a double yellow, obviously, at turn one, but what a disaster. Two of the drivers we're expecting so much from. There is Marabi Mekbabishvili in the all-black car. We saw him go spinning. Also, Angelo Fontana. We'll need to see a replay to see what happened there. But in towards turn 5 they come. On board with Javier Ripoll Jr. in the number 91 car up towards turn 8. So already some chaos and drama here with less than 20 minutes remaining. We've got a yellow flag there as well, and that is for Andre Fernandez. The car that was challenging for the lead now pointing in the wrong direction. That is up at turn 7 and 8, I think it is. Marabi Mekbabishvili, there he is, he's got going, as has Fontana, but so much drama. The front-running cars, pretty well all of them, with the exception of Evgeny Leonov, having dramatic problems, and Leonov, well, it's a bit of a get-out-of-jail-free card for him. So, rest of the field coming round, and there is the 912 car of Philip Wills. So he is up into that second place. So Leonov leading the way. I'm just looking to see what has happened to Wagner as well. But right, here we go then. There's the first, second, third. Javier Ripoll Jr. in third place. A challenge on the inside. That's Tobias Vasquez having a look to the inside of Reinhold Kran for position. So, see whether he made it stick or not. But there is our race leading car coming through. The number 16, Evgeny Leonov, and still more positions further back. There is Ajith Kumar in the 28 car. He is fighting for position. The rest of the cars are now coming through. The 23 car, there is Eric Wagner down into 8th place. So he's had his dramas as well. And there in the background, Patrick Kuhnhaar in the leading GT4 car. So on board with Ajith Kumar in the number 28 car. Great perspective as the cars head up over the crest of the hill. So settling down after a fairly chaotic start. Our race leader, Evgeny Leonov, leading the way in car number 16. In second place, it is Philip Wills, who managed to avoid the carnage. He's into that second place. In third, It's the S1 racing car of Javier Ripoll Jr. So the 1, 2, 3 looking solid. There is the 28th car of Ajith Kumar. And last time across the line, he was up to 14th place, already making good progress through the pack. 127 and 23. Jan Jaap van Roem alongside the 23 car of Eric Wagner. So Jaap van Roem making his way forwards as well, further back through the pack. There are lots of fights going on up and down, but the lead just looking reasonably solid in the hands of Evgeny Leonov. He has been so fast in all the free practice sessions and looking to have a control of this race. But Philippe Wills, probably the more experienced of the two, going to be looking to track him down. So the gap, 1.026. This is the view from on board. Philippe Wills looking at the back of the race leader, just tracking him around towards turn 7. They come. The car reaching up to about 200 kilometers an hour on the exit of this turn, a turn that's taken in 4th gear. Up over the crest of the hill they come, and down the other side. You can see that drop from the perspective of Philippe Wills. There he is in that 2nd place. So our leading AM driver, the leader of the race, is Leonov. Our leading GT4 driver, Patrick Kuhnhaar, he is in 11th place. 2nd in the GT4s is David von Rosen. He's in 15th overall. And in 16th overall is 3rd in the GT4s, and that is Kasper Hockenboom. So they will be fighting with each other. Here's our race leader, 1st and 2nd, just breaking a bit clear. Javier Ripoll Jr., we heard from him in the break. We can see if he can push forwards to challenge, to catch up with the leaders. 1.026 last time across the line. 1.028 this time around, I can see. So the gap between 1st and 2nd very much remaining the same. Another challenge here, the 121 car looking to the inside into turn 1. That's Tobias Vasquez finally making it stick on the inside of Reinhold Kran. So Tobias Vasquez moving up a position. That is into 4th place, looking very rapid. The quickest car on the track at the moment is our race leader, 146.767, Evgeny Leonov. But the 121 car pushing forwards, Tobias Vasquez, the driver from Germany for Kramer Racing in the AM category, moving on up through the pack as he challenges for that position. So the clock ticking down, just over 13 and a half minutes remaining of this race. Leonov looks to have this under control as things stand at the moment, but there's still plenty that can happen. The windscreen wipers are still stationary, so the rain has yet to fall, pleased to say. There is Andre Fernandez, after such a strong start, now down in 19th place, back with the back markers and having to do all that hard work. Just behind him, Marabi Mekbabishvili, who also had that spin. We've lost 2 cars. We've lost Lennart Eamstra in 969 for Triple M Crown Racing. We've also lost Angelo Fontana. We saw him turning around at the start of this race, and he has retired into the pit. So 2 cars down, everybody still running. There is the 33 car, Alexander Dobik. He's the next one to line up behind the Tobias Vasquez Reinhold Kran battle. And he's another one who is pushing forwards for position. There's somebody who's gone off, and that, I think it was Ajith Kumar, has just gone off at a tangent. Looks as though he got it all wrong on the corner. He's let a couple of cars through. He's able to continue, but the 28 car having a bit of a moment there and surrendering a position. There's Alexander Dobik in the yellow and black car, currently chasing Reinhold Kran at 5th place. Tobias Vasquez broken clear of that particular battle now. Tobias Vasquez about 1.6 seconds clear of the battle that you're looking at. There's Vasquez just gone through the bottom of your screen, now on board with the 28 car. So I think grip and traction very much at a premium here for Ajith Khan for Red Ant plus Ajith Kumar Racing. Sorry, Ajith Kumar, beg your pardon, and Ajith Kumar Racing. So on board with him once again. You can see how hard he's having to work the wheel just to keep the car pointing in the right direction. Just ahead of him is Ernst Inderbitzen, who is in 15th place. So Kumar has dropped down into 16th place as a result of that lively moment, and Inderbitzen was able to sneak through. Right, looking at the pit straight briefly there as Javier Ripoll Jr. In a solid third place at the moment. The 1, 2, 3 just running very much on their own at the moment. Leonov about 1.264 ahead of Philip Wills in second place. He in turn is 3.1 clear of Javier Ripoll Jr. In third place, but very much all to play for from there backwards as Tobias Vasquez in 1-2-1. Under pressure once again. Reinhold Kran also there as well, fighting for the positions. Out along the pit straight they come once again. Vasquez in fourth place ahead of Reinhold Kran, and then the 33 car of Alexander Dobic. Dobic now putting the pressure onto Reinhold Kran for the fifth place. Just trying to push him into a mistake, looking to see if there's a way he can find the route through. Fontana was a front end damage, Angelo Fontana, just to say he won't return to the race. So he has retired. That's why he's retired to the pits. There's Reinhold Kran under pressure from Alexander Dobic. The 233 car in fifth place. All of these cars in the AM category are leading GT4 car. Patrick Kuhners up into ninth place overall. He's in a Porsche Cayman against all the 911s, and he is stretching his legs up into ninth place. Fantastic stuff there. Right, there is Fernandez into the pits. It's all gone a little bit wrong. It looks so strong at the start, but it looks like his afternoon is over as we look at Ernst Inderbitzen in the number 9 car. Ahead of him is David von Rosen. So they running towards the back of the pack. Inderbitzen and von Rosen, they're fighting for fourth place. This is a good battle though. Alexander Dobic in sixth place. Ahead of him, Reinhold Kran. Kran, who already lost that position to Tobias Vasquez, now under pressure. Vasquez has broken clear, left a big gap between them. We're into the last 9.25 minutes of this race, and still places remain unchanged across the line. Reinhold Kran once again with the 33 car of Alexander Dobic. Is he going to challenge into turn one? He looks to the left, he looks to the right, he sees a gap on the inside under braking. Into turn one, the heavy braking, but it's a slower line on the inside around that corner. And still, Kran is able to sweep on past and hold on to that fifth place. But Alexander Dobic starting to look a little bit impatient as he challenges Reinhold Kran for that fifth place. Leonov up the front, 1.3 clear. Then Philip Wills in second. Javier Ripoll Jr. in third. Then Tobias Vasquez. Then this battle we're looking at here. 2-3-3, Reinhold Kran. Alexander Dobic just behind him. They're well clear of Jan-Jaap van Room in seventh place. Lee Mole in eighth. Then the very impressive Patrick Kuhner in ninth place, leading the GT4 race. Then in 10th place, it's Eric Wagner. Rounding out the top 10, Peter Sander. There in 11th, ahead of Dominic Bastian. And down the hill we come. 8 minutes remaining, plus 1 lap of this race. There's Merabi Mekbabishvili. And after that moment at the start, trying to work his way back through the pack, he's found a route past Ajith Kumar. So that would be for 16th place. The very rapid Mekbabishvili, who was towards the top, if not at the top of the timesheets in all of the practice and qualifying sessions, having to do all the hard work after that early on spin. Leonov still stretching his legs at the front. A fastest lap of 146.188. And he stretching his legs at the front over Felipe Wills. Out along the pit straight once again. This fight that seems to have been going on for fifth place for a very long time. Reinhold Kran now under pressure once again. Alexander Dobic trying what he tried last time around, still not making it stick. He's got 7 minutes to think of a way past the green and black car in front of him and to steal away that position of 5th place. Still, Cran has this under control, so it seems, although Vasquez now well clear by some 5 seconds in that 4th place. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, running very much on their own. There's Limo in 8th place, he's been very quick. Patrick Kuhnhart, the leader in the GT4 race, in 9th overall. That is so impressive in a car that has significantly less power and grunt than those around him, and looking very strong for a top step in the GT4 race. Looking down at the Torrey VIP turn 5. And getting a good exit out of that corner is really important, because you head into turn 6, which is taken absolutely flat out, and you get a good exit out of turn 5, you have an opportunity to make a challenge into turn 6. Down yet another one of the hills, coming up to 5 3/4 minutes remaining. Race 1 of the season for Porsche Sprint Challenge Southern Europe, the club division. We've already seen the sport division, and after what was a fairly troubled start to this race, we're finally underway as we ride on board with the 28 of Ajith Kumar for Red Ant and Ajith Kumar Racing, the driver from India, with the camera on board, currently in 17th place. Once again, Alexander Dobic challenging Reinhold Kran. It feels like these two cars have been together for pretty well the whole race. We saw Tobias Vasquez get past early on and break clear in that 4th place. But Alexander Dobic not finding it quite so easy. Reinhold Kran making that Porsche as wide as he possibly can, holding on to that 5th place. Every point counts, and when the championship is done and dusted at the end of the season, it comes down often to just single points. Every place is important, never giving up. At the front, Evgeny Leonov has a gap of nearly 2 seconds over Felipe Wills and Javier Ripoll Jr. That's the 1, 2, 3. No real challenges going on for the lead. Eric Wagner, car 23, driver for Enrico Fulgenzi Racing. We heard from him on the grid earlier on in that 11th place now. Dominic Bastian, the 79-year-old pilot, phenomenal that he's racing so competitively as well. And a great fight that he's putting up here. But having to defend hard from Markus Neuhofer for Team Neuhofer Rennsport in that 13th place as he tries to close in. But Dominic Bastian in 12th, Wagner in 11th, so they're all in point scoring positions. Murabi Mekva-Bishvili, after that spin to the back of the pack, is now into the points and up into 14th place. Yes, damage limitation, but certainly showing what he is capable of. This is a good fight, isn't it? For 11th place, Eric Wagner holding on for all he's worth. How long's he got? Just over 3.5 minutes plus 1 lap to hold on to that position. Eric Wagner in the 23 car in 11th place. Meanwhile, our race leader, very much everything under control. Felipe Wills in 2nd place in the yellow and black car, keeping him in sight but not able to close in on him. 3rd place, Javier Ripoll Jr. A long way back from them. The 1, 2, 3 looking solid. Tobias Vasquez still a couple of seconds back from 3rd place. So a podium looking like a bit of a stretch unless there is a mistake from one of the drivers up in front, because we are into the final 3 minutes of this race, plus 1 lap. When the clock strikes 0, the cars will continue on whatever lap they are on, and then there will be 1 more lap after that, and then the race will be done. 2 minutes and 40 seconds we ride on board with 2nd place Felipe Wills from Proton Huber competition. It's Volcano Motorsport who lead the way from Proton Huber, and Est1 in 3rd place, with Kramer Racing in 4th, and lap time performance in 5th place with Reinhold Kran at the wheel. Alexander Dobic for Hadeka Racing in 6th place. Just there, still putting the pressure on, still points that could be scored as we look once again at Eric Wagner in the Enrico Fulgenzi Racing, the number 23 car. Seems to have the measure of Dominic Bastian at the moment in the 45 car, who has his attention occupied by Markus Neuhofer, who is just behind him and filling his mirrors. Also rushing to join that battle is Merabi Mekvabishvili, who is fighting his way back. Merabi Mekvabishvili has found his way through yet another place, picking off the points. Look at this still, Reinhold Kran in 5th place. Alexander Dobik now starting to get impatient. 90 seconds of timed racing remaining, plus the obligatory 1 lap. Still, Leonov leading the way. That's under control. Wills in 2nd. That's under control. Ripoll Jr. in 3rd. That's under control. Then it's Vasquez. Then it's this. Very much still up for grabs. The fight for 5th place. Reinhold Kran, Alexander Dobik putting the pressure on. 1 minute and 10 seconds plus 1 lap to try and find a route past. He's been trying it all race long. We've had 19 minutes of this race. There is just 1 minute remaining, plus the obligatory 1 lap. Our race leader out at turn 13 at the moment. I think he's going to cross the start-finish line before the clock strikes 0, which will mean there will be another 2 laps remaining of this, the first race of the season for Porsche Sprint Challenge Southern Europe, the club division. What a fight we are having here. Reinhold Kran must be fed up with the sight of that car in his mirrors. Alexander Dobik must be fed up with the car that is filling his windscreen, but neither of them seems to be able to do anything to make any difference at the moment. Kran holding on to that 5th place. Leonov stamping his authority on this race. Another fastest lap, opening it up to 2.5 seconds over Felipe Wills. Just needs to hold it together for another 8 seconds, plus it's going to be the extra 1 lap. So the clock has struck 0 now, and now it is the remainder of this lap plus 1 more for the race leader. Still the fighting continues further back. Still, it's Eric Wagner with all that pressure from behind. Still, Reinhold Kran, he has held on for 20 minutes of this race from Alexander Dobik in that 6th place. Dobik still not able to find a route forwards. Our race leader currently on the penultimate lap of the race. That means that this fight has about 1.5 laps left to run. What can Alexander Dobik do to get the number 33 car up into that 5th place? So I've just had notification that there is not going to be the extra lap. So this is the final lap of the race. So because of the jumbled start, there is no extra lap. That means this is the last lap of the race. Evgeny Leonov only has to do another 2 corners and he will be the first race winner of the season in Sprint Challenge Southern Europe for the club division. Felipe Wills in that solid 2nd place. So with this being the final lap, Leonov out into turn 15 for the very last time. He will come out onto the pit straight. He will see the checkered flag in front of him in just a few moments, and it's going to be a win for Evgeny Leonov. The checkered flag waves. Felipe Wills a lonely 2nd place ahead of Javier Ripoll Jr. He will come out of that final corner in just a few moments for the last of the podium positions. A phenomenal job from Patrick Kuna, can I just point out. Here comes 3rd place now, tellingly the windscreen wiper running on the number 91 car. Then Tobias Vasquez, what a charge from him, and what a job from Reinhold Kran. He held off immense pressure from Alexander Dobik for that 5th place. Then it'll be Jan-Jaap van Roon in 7th ahead of Lee Mole. A solid job from him in 8th place. Then Patrick Kuna winning in the GC4 category in 9th place overall. He will cross the line ahead of Peter Sander. We're still waiting for them to come out across the line. Still fighting for position further back. There is Eric Wagner still with Dominic Bastian monstering him all the way until the very bitter end. Can I just say, shout out to Merabi Mekvabishvili fighting back to 11th place ahead of Eric Wagner, Dominic Bastian, Markus Neuhofer and Ernst Inderbitzen. So some of the drivers who spun early on coming back with great strength at the end of this race. I think driver of the race though has to go to Patrick Kumar in 9th place in a GT4 car against all these GT3 cars around him, winning in the GT4 category. But Evgeny Leonov, what a job from him. To be fair, never really looked under threat from the moment this race started. A fairly dominant performance, eventually crossing the line some 3.124 seconds ahead of Felipe Wills and Javier Ripoll Jr. in that 3rd place. Brilliant stuff. There's Felipe Wills. We're on board with him. And really welcome addition to the grid here in the Porsche Sprint Challenge Southern Europe Club Division here. The first event of what is set to be an absolutely classic 2025 season. The rest of the cars now coming home. We lost 4 cars there. We lost Andre Fernandez, Casper Hochburn, Lennart Heemstra, and Angelo Fontana. We had 18 finishers. For all the fans of Ajith Kumar, he came home in a 17th place. A fairly challenging race, but certainly a solid performance for the Indian driver. There's the rest of the grid, and there is the result now coming up on your screens. We'll wait for official confirmation. I think stewards had quite a lot to look at there, and of course with that jumbled start as well, I think the right decision was made to give it another go. There is who was looking to put things right after the GT Cup Europe last year, was waiting for that win, felt as though this circuit owed him one. Good to listen in. And the circuit has paid him back. The team, who do a great job at Volcano Motorsport preparing that car. Into Parc Fermé they come, and the cars will then be subject to scrutineering. And of course, we will see them all again a bit later on this afternoon. He looks knackered. There's Piers down there and shaking his hand, and I'm hoping that he's going to have a little word with our race winner. It looks like you've got with you there, Piers. Down to you.
Absolutely, Brian. Thank you very much for talking us through that. Evgeny Leonov, hey, a great race. You said that the circuit owed you one, so you managed to get that monkey off your back, as we say in England.
It was a little bit crazy race. First of all, we experienced some issues on the start, so we need to check what was it actually, yeah. But anyway, finally we win. The car was brilliant. It was super stable, and the team made brilliant job. And I'm super happy to win here in Portimão in Portugal. I love Portugal. I love Portimão. And after my fall 2 years ago, so it's like coming back.
Yeah, you're going to love it even more now you've got that trophy on the cabinet at home, I'm sure. But you were pushed hard. Philip was right behind you the whole race.
He was really strong. He was really strong. It was not like really simple to keep the distance. I tried my best, and I didn't know what happened in the beginning of the race, so I expected some probably penalties or something. I didn't know. So I tried to increase the gap, but I could not. Actually, he was really strong.
Amazing. Well, Evgeny, congratulations on what is a provisional win and the first win in the Porsche Sprint Challenge Southern Europe. Well done. Brian, I will hand back up to you, and we'll get the podium ceremony underway very shortly.
Thank you, Piers. Great job, and lovely to hear from Evgeny Leonov. And yes, the monkey is dispatched off into wherever monkeys go, and he has the curse lifted. He said, right, let's have another look here. It was the second attempt to get this race underway. It was a 20-minute race, and it was Evgeny Leonov who led into that first turn. Andre Fernandez leading the way into the corner, but he would soon get caught out. A couple of spinners, Marabi Mekvabishvili and Angelo Fontana, both turning around, and Mekvabishvili making a sterling job coming back through the pack. Some wonderful fighting going on. Every time we looked, I think Eric Wagner was in the walls somewhere along the way, but that man there, someone make a note of Patrick Kumar, please, because he knows how to hustle a GT4 car around the Portimão circuit, doesn't he? There's a number of fights that were going on throughout this race. The very popular Ajith Kumar was also in the battles as well. Unfortunately, he had a bit of a moment. It wasn't him who went wide there. It was one of the GT4 cars, but he did lose places as a result of that moment and dropped back through the pack as well. Dominic Bastian was in the wars, but this fight went on for the entire race, didn't it? It was Reinhold Kran versus Alexander Dobic. Dobic still never found the route past, even he tried so hard. Also in there, Peter Sander, didn't mention him very much for Kramer Racing. The German driver was also there fighting with the Eric Wagner car. So many battles up and down the pack. Lots to keep us entertained. Lots to review as well. And I should think that Reinhold Kran will want to well, he'll be very happy to review that. Alexander Dobic will not want to review that because he saw the gaps, but he couldn't slot the car into it and eventually had to settle for the position staring at the back of Reinhold Kran. This fight was wonderful, wasn't it? Eric Wagner all the way through. Dominic Bastian in there as well. Also in there was Markus Neuhofer, who was fighting for position. So everybody really getting their elbows out, everybody getting stuck in, and everybody entertaining us here at Portimão for the first race of the season. Felipe Wills, well, once the leader had broken clear, it was a bit of a lonely race, but he'll take the points for second place, I should think. There's the battle still raging on between Reinhold Kran and Alexander Dobic. Meanwhile, Murabi Mekvavishvili working his way back up through the pack. That is a phenomenal job from the very back on tyres that would have not only been worn, but probably a little bit flat-spotted as well. And that was him muscling his way past Eric Wagner for position. But there was no doubt about the winner. Never really looked any doubt at all for Evgeny Leonov as he took that checkered flag.
Yes, I am ready for the podium, and the rain, I can confirm, is falling, but we'll get to that when we do the start of the sports division race. But for now, it is the podium for the club division, and in third place in the AM classification, it is Javier Ripoll Jr. Javier coming in third place for the Hills. Philip second for Proton Huber competition, and our eventual winner, Evgeny Leonov. Evgeny racing for Volcano Motorsport. And now the trophies being handed out. Third place is Javier Ripoll Jr. Second place, Philip Wills after a good drive, pushing Evgeny all the way. But our eventual winner and taking home the first place largest trophy is Evgeny Leonov. Now the photos for the podium ceremony. The teams cheering their drivers on, of course, well deserved. They've pushed hard, just missed out on the race, on the wet weather that is coming in now. And coming up very, very shortly, next up is the GT4 classification. Just spraying the champagne and adding to the dampness in the air. In second place in GT4, it is David von Rosen. David von Rosen in second place. Congratulations, David. David driving for Team Neuhofer Rennsport. And our winner in GT4 after an excellent drive, Patrick Kuna. Patrick driving for Veloso Motorsport, taking the victory in the GT4 classification. And the trophy presentation, second place once again, being handed out by Lars Plato, the series organizer, to David von Rosen. And first place trophy handed over to Patrick Kuna. Congratulations, GT4 drivers. We'll see you again in about an hour's time or so, just under an hour's time. That is our podium. And now, this is going to be very interesting because I don't know whether you can see on the camera, but the rain is not just spitting, it is now falling. I'm going to go and put another layer of clothes on. Our camera operator Laura is going to put a bag on the camera, and we'll see you on the grid in just a few moments. Brian, back to you.
Thank you very much, Piers. And yes, go somewhere dry. That looks pretty murky. It was like I've been back in the UK, that is. Headlights are blazing, and this is going to really sort the men from the boys because the the track starting to look a little bit greasy. Of course, the teams will now have to decide whether it is wet enough to go for wet weather tyres or whether to go for slick tyres. You've got to try and plan the long game as well. You're looking ahead. You're trying to predict where the weather is going and whether it's going to stay wet during the race. But because, of course, if you're running wet weather tyres in the dry, they very quickly burn up and wear out if the track dries out. So there's an element of prediction going on, looking at the clouds, trying to work out what is coming in, what is going out, and what's going to happen. The forecast did say potentially light rain. I would wager that actually light rain to a degree is worse than heavy rain, because at least with heavy rain you have a consistent wet track. And when you've got light rain, you have the issue where it could be dry, could be wet, could be dry on one part of the track and wet on another. So yeah, lots of issues to think about. The teams will be there scratching their heads. Of course, some of these teams very, very experienced when it comes to strategizing for these races. So they will be working hard with their calculators, just working out what they're going to do and making some decisions. But you can see there, cars up on jacks at the moment. I'm hoping we're going to get a look at what tyres they're on when Piers is down there and see what they're likely to be running. But teams kind of holding fire on putting tyres on some of the cars, just waiting till we see what the weather is going to do. We said come to Portimão, it's going to be sunny. Yes, this is exactly what it did last year. Sunny for testing, sunny for quali, and then when the racing came, it suddenly went a little bit slippery, but that's why these drivers are so fantastic. They entertain us in all conditions. Suddenly the wet weather experts are looking very eager, rubbing their hands together and anticipating what could be an opportunity they might not have had. And those that are further back down the grid will have maybe an opportunity to move forwards in a way that they wouldn't have if the track was dry. So you can see the teams setting to work there. I'm still actually waiting for confirmation on the starting grid at the moment. Just want to make sure that I have confirmation of who is where. Right, I have now. So just to confirm, it is indeed Chester Kiefer who is on pole position, with once again Ariel Levy alongside. Flint Schuring is starting in third place. Sid Smith in P4. Now that's going to be interesting. Also keep an eye, Sasha Norden, well, we've already seen how quick he is. He's starting from P5. But Draker Janssen in P6 in the number 17 car. When it rained at the Red Bull Ring in Porsche Carrera Cup Benelux last year, he was transformed and he was pretty unstoppable. So he'll be quite eager to get going if the rain comes down. Domas Radonas is up on the fourth row with Dirk Schuten up there as well. So this is going to be very, very interesting. That's the view briefly from Sid Smith. That's the view from Dirk Schuten. You can see the rain. Well, I know very little, as you've probably gathered by now. But by my reckoning, it's not really enough for wet weather tyres. But if you go out on slicks and the track is slippery, this is very tricky on an undulating track surface. And I'm kind of looking forward to when Piers gets out there for his grid walk, because I'm hoping he's going to give us some insight into what tyres they are actually using. But at the moment, you can see that it's not exactly chucking it down. It is those conditions that everybody dreads, really. As an errant wheel just disappearing across the track. The conditions where it is neither proper wet nor proper dry. But yes, as we already said, that's why these drivers are fantastic drivers doing what they do. It's great training as they get ready for the 2025 season, particularly those that are in Porsche Carrera Cup Great Britain. I better get used to this wet stuff. So it's good practice, good experience as we look at the view from Dirk Schuten's car. Right, Piers, have you got your waterproofs on? Hope you're staying dry. We need to know what tyres they're on. Hope you're down there on the grid waiting for us.
Yeah, down here on the grid, Brian. No waterproofs for me. I'm well hard, aren't I? But anyway, I put an extra layer on so I stay warm. Can confirm that as far as I can see, every single driver has put wet tyres on. Our camera operator Laura is going to have a quick look in there. Yeah, so wets on Ariel Levy. The rain is falling heavier and heavier by the moment. Visibility going down. You can see down to turn one, the visibility is reduced. There's going to be spray on the circuit, I reckon, in a couple of minutes because this rain, as though it's not big raindrops, it's quite dense in the air. I don't know whether you can see it on my body. Of course, these drivers may not have had, in fact, they definitely haven't had experience driving around this circuit in the wet this week at least. Some drivers may have tested here in the wet before. Of course, when we came here last year, we raced in the dry. So to be honest, a lot of these teams will be guessing in terms of tyre pressures, setups. They'll be using experience from other circuits or experience from their previous seasons. But at this exact venue, at this exact temperature, it's going to be quite hard. I'm going to grab another word with Sid Smith because Sid's had a good race weekend so far. Sid, interesting conditions here. It's going to make things a bit interesting.
Yeah, well, I'm new to the track, let alone this track in the rain, so it's going to be interesting. I'm sure it's new for a few people here, so it's going to be a bit of trial and error for the first couple of laps, but it's going to be a case of there's going to be cars everywhere, so it's going to be a lot of fun, but who knows what's going to happen.
Sid, we'll look forward to seeing how you get on in that one. Of course, the Brits used to wet weather. And I'm going to try and grab a word. We've only got time for one more interview before we have to kick off the grid with Chester Kiefer, because if you were part of the lunch break, you will have heard Chester say that it doesn't matter if it's wet or dry to him. Just a quick word with Chester. Chester, can we have a quick word? We spoke to you earlier on, and you said you didn't mind if it was wet or dry. The wet's an opportunity for you. Well, here we are.
Yeah, exactly. Now the rain has come, so I've never driven this track under the rain, but we'll see what 3 minutes bring.
Absolutely. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how you get on. Of course, Chester experienced in single-seaters, still learning these 911 GT3 992 Cup cars. We're going to have to walk our way towards the exit of the grid. I'll try and grab one more interview with another driver if we have time. You can see Draker Jansen's car there. Look, the mechanic actually wiping the inside of the windscreen, making sure that the windscreen's clean and steam-free. That'll be another thing that these drivers have to contend with, is if you get too much dampness in the car, then the windscreen can steam up and further reduce that visibility. I'm going to have a quick word. Can we have a quick word, Draker? Yeah, Draker's happy to have a quick word. Just a very quick word, Draker. Any experience in the wet in this circuit before?
Not on this circuit. So we're going to have to try some things, but I like the rain.
Draker likes the rain. We know this. I'll let the team close the door. Brian, I think I'm being told I have to leave, so I'll hand back up to you.
Good job, Piers. Thank you. Yes, understatement. Draker Jansen likes the rain. Yeah, get back in the dry. Right, interesting. Well, it just shows what
அயன் சத்து தலைமுடி உதிர்தலை தடுக்கும் மிதமான சூடு பாலில் கலந்து பருகலாம். லயன் டேட் சிரப் தினமும் 2 ஸ்பூன்.
இப்போது புதிய அறிமுகம் ஆச்சி ஹோட்டல் சாம்பார் 50 கிராம் ரூபாய் 20 மட்டுமே.
Taste the Daily. Taste the Daily.